Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. In today's video, we'll be doing a retro review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, so let's get into it. So in Turtles 2, the arcade game, you take on the role of the Ninja Turtles, where you go out and try and save April O'Neil from Shredder and his band of villains. And so the game starts off where her apartment building is on fire and the Turtles jump in to save the day and rescue her, only to find Shredder getting away with April and the Turtles chasing after her, which leads into the rest of the game. And so for me, I remember getting this on Christmas as a kid and I was super excited. It was actually one of the first beat 'em up games I ever played. And I guess I didn't even know it was a genre at that time. And so I always referred to other games in the future as games like Turtles. So again, at the start of the game, you can pick whatever turtle you want to play as. I definitely always go as Donatello. He's my favorite, obviously being the nerd of the group. And on top of that, you'll fight your way through various levels in the Turtle universe. And I think that was one thing that they really did a great job of in this game is the level design. And so not only do you start out fighting your way through this burning building, but then you go through fighting on the streets of New York, jumping down into the sewers, coming back later to New York where it's snow covered in the middle of winter, fighting your way through the Foot Clan on rocket skateboards, and again going through samurai dojos, the Technodrome, and more. And so with the Turtles, you'll be able to fight with your weapons, doing jump kicks, as well as a special move that's extremely powerful, but also comes with the risk of injuring yourself as you use it. You know, this game you can play single player, but also two player, where each player can play as a turtle, fighting through the enemies and taking on classic villains from the Turtle universe. And I think that's another area that the game did a great job in. I know the Ninja Turtles maybe aren't as popular today as they were in the 90s when this game came out, but they had a lot of the classic villains and enemies in the game. So like I said, you're going to fight through hundreds of foot soldiers, but there's a ton of different unique ones to this game as well. There's foot soldiers that throw knives at you, that have massive hammers, swords, boomerangs, and more. On top of that, it has the iconic villains from the series, so you're fighting boss battles with people like Rocksteady and Bebop, Baxter Stockman, Krang, Shredder, and more. And the boss fights are really intense and challenging as well. This is one of the first games I remember where bosses didn't necessarily have a health meter, but they would start flashing different colors to let you know that they were almost dead. So that was always intense as a little kid, playing through that, taking on the bosses, not sure how you were doing, only to start seeing them flash and then again flash faster when you're about to take them out. It was a ton of fun. Another cool thing about this game is it was an arcade port, and I think they really did a great job of it. Obviously, the graphics aren't quite as good as the arcade version, and you know, the gameplay is probably a little more crisp in the arcade, but I think for bringing an arcade port to the NES, they really did a great job in this game. And it really holds up even today. Now when you start the game, you start with only 2 lives, and then you have 3 continues to try and take on the entire game. And that can be extremely challenging, as some of the boss fights, like I said, can be pretty intense, and you need unique strategies on some of the bosses to be able to beat them. And as you get to the later stages, at some points it becomes almost impossible. There's crazy tigers that jump out of the wall and come to life and attack you, and their pattern is very difficult to predict. And especially when you get to the final level, you'll have to fight your way through 3 boss fights in a row. Not to mention the final battle with Shredder is pretty insane. You're not just fighting Shredder, he forms a clone of himself, and you're fighting 2 Shredders at the same time. On top of that, he's got a lightning bolt power that shoots across the entire screen and that can kill you in 1 hit, and he does it again and again throughout the battle. So you can lose several lives in a matter of seconds fighting Shredder alone. On top of that, when you're fighting the clone, you can knock his helmet off, but then you can accidentally kill the clone and he'll reform himself, and you'll have to continue to fight 2 Shredders again, not knowing which one is the real one, until you're able to knock that helmet off again. So this is one of the most intense battles I feel like I've ever encountered in video game history, at least my video game history. So if you're up for the challenge, I really recommend this game. Thankfully, there are some cheat codes that you can implement where you can unlock a bunch of extra guys, but there's even an option of using a code to get extra guys and to select the stage you want to go to. So if you maybe didn't make it all the way through the first time on the normal mode, which you might consider extremely hard, you can try it again with 9 lives. And then if you still can't beat it, you can try it again using that stage select code in the game. Now, while this is one of my favorite games on the Nintendo, I think it is lacking some of the features and options that were present in the sequel, Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project. And so in this game, for example, you can choose different turtles, but they have unique abilities, their weapons have different ranges, and when you use that powered up super move, it's different depending on which turtle you choose. Also with this game, even though it's called Turtles 2, it doesn't necessarily relate to the Turtles 2 movie. And so again, you're gonna miss out on some of the iconic bosses like Tokka and Razor and even Super Shredder, which are present in this Turtles game. Again, both are great, but I'd highly recommend checking out Turtles 2, the arcade game, if you haven't yet. You might have to resort to finding it on emulation though, but you may also be able to pick up the original arcade version on one of the latest arcade 1-up cabinets as well. They did a Turtles 1 that had Turtles 2 and Turtles in Time, and so if you want to play the full arcade version, you might want to check for it there. Also on top of that, depending on when you're watching this video, they're also coming out with a new game for Nintendo Switch, Shredder's Revenge, which is really a take and throwback on these old classic Turtles arcade games. So again, depending on when you're seeing this, that might already be out, or again, it may be still coming out depending on when you're watching this, but you could probably get your classic nostalgia turtle fix on that game if you aren't able to pick up Turtles 2, the arcade game. But let me know in the comments below if you guys have played this game, if it's one of your favorite beat 'em ups, which turtle game do you prefer? Do you play this one, Turtles 3 on the NES, or Turtles in Time, the other beat 'em up? That's a definite classic as well. Let me know in the comments below. But if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button as it really helps out the channel. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos that we put out. And if you'd like to help us support the channel, pick out content and more, become a patron of ours at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And if you'd like to plug into our live streams and Let's Plays we do on the channel, you can follow us on Twitch at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.